Welcome back everyone. And our final session for today will be brought to you by Wiley Global Technology. It's a company that empowers researchers, learners, universities and corporations to achieve their goals in an ever-changing world. Wiley's global headquarters are located in Hoboken, New Jersey. Wiley Sri Lanka, part of Wiley, provides product engineering and technology operations to Wiley's vast products and services. Wiley Sri Lanka is the largest Wiley technological center. And to guide us on an important topic, time management, we have Mr. Supun Withana with us. He is someone who works as a technical project manager at Wiley Global Technology, and he is also a graduate at the University of Colombo and has more than 7 years of experience as an IT and software project management professional. Over to you, Mr. Withana.
Okay, thank you. And good evening to everyone. Let me quickly share my screen. I hope I'm audible and you can see me as well. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so by that time, I mean, let me first say what this is about. Basically, I'm going to talk about time management, and again, like you heard, Wiley is a education related company, which is about 200 years old. And in Sri Lanka, it only started about like 3 years back. And I'm representing Wiley today to do this session to you. Okay, so for introductions, I think it's partly already done. I'm Supun Withana and working as a technical project manager. Before Wiley, I was working in several companies in Sri Lanka. To be exact, 2 companies, Millennium IT and so on, 24/7, and then now I'm in Wiley. And I would like to know a little bit about the audience at a very high level. Who are the audience? Like all of you are undergraduates, or are there any other, already people who are working in companies and stuff? If someone can just very little can give me some information on that.
Yes, we are undergraduates and
okay, all right, so that's great. Okay, so I think you will soon step into the corporate world. So in my presentation, I will mainly at the beginning focus on what is time management and why we should do time management. And then we'll jump into day-to-day or personal time management. And then we'll talk a little bit about, time management in corporate culture. So that part I will be focusing more on that area, because that's my specialty, because there are many people who can teach you about time management, and you can go to the internet and look for the ways that how you do management. And also I believe, since you are most of you are the undergraduates of most prominent university in Sri Lanka, University of Moratuwa. So I believe everyone are very good time managers, but still there are some tips that I can help you with. So my focus will be around that, and at the end we can have a Q&A session if you have any questions. But please feel free to stop me at any time if you have any question, and you can clarify them. I am more than happy to do that. Okay. One more thing I would like, I would really appreciate if you all can maybe make this a very interactive session. If some of you can talk, or maybe if I ask a question, I appreciate, but I wouldn't mind if you don't. But I appreciate if you can answer some questions that I might ask. Okay, so do you think you are productive? Do you think you are productive? Okay, I'll go to the next question. But I will really need some answers for this one from maybe 1 or 2 of you. I know, like you said, most of you might not be working yet. So the first table in the first row you see here, I want to know how many hours you spend for work. That means at this stage, maybe for studying and everything, how many hours do you spend? Maybe 1 or 2 people can answer me. Just a rough number. How many hours you work? Maybe I can nominate few people if you all are comfortable with that.
These days with the pandemic, it's very hard to be seated on one place and continue everything is very difficult situation. But yeah, for me, I think it has drastically reduced. Like
okay.
Yes.
If you give me a number, you say 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. What do you think? 5 hours or even I don't mind. I just
Maybe 3 to 4 hours in general.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally okay, because when you are studying, that's pretty normal, and with the pandemic, like you said, the time you will formally spend on studying in university or somewhere might vary, so that's fine. So some people maybe say, let me take a marker here and say, don't mind my handwriting, I don't have a pen, I just using my mouse. So 3 hours, or maybe in most in corporate world, most people, you will maybe notice it in the future when you work in a company. With this pandemic situation, our situation is slightly different. We have gone to the other way. Like we used to spend, about like 7 hours of quality time in working at office, but now we are at home, so we don't know when we start. We actually, I mean, most people don't know when they should start, when they should finish. Sometimes they take their work until, from 8-9 a.m. to maybe 9-10 p.m. or even more than that, especially in software industry. Sometimes in some companies that has become a norm. So they kind of, some people think when you are home, you are always available. So they reach out to you without thinking about the time. So it has sometimes increased up to like 10 hours, 12 hours, even more than that. And I see, I have seen, if you read about Elon Musk, he has said he usually spend about 18 hours or 20 hours a day. That is his perspective, that he thinks that is the success, or that he's hardworking. But let me pause there, because I'll come back to that. But usually sometimes people may spend about like 10 hours, or even like my good friend said, it can be 3 hours, 4 hours as well. That depends. And usually how many hours do you sleep? With the interest of time, maybe I'll explain a little bit. So some people hardly get sleep. Maybe they, playing, you might be playing games or watching movies, TV series, and or else working very hard day and night. Likewise, that differ. So maybe some people even might not take about like 4-5 hours sleep, or sometimes you might take enough sleep, but you will start sleeping at around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Or even later, and then sleep till late. But I mean, that's fine. That's how different people work. There's no wrong in it. But I would say it's about like, sometimes some people, most of the time, if they are very busy with work, this is what I want to, tell you and kind of avoid, because some people spend like very less time sleeping, maybe 5 hours, 4 hours a day. Or sometimes some people might sleep like, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. Right? Okay. And the important question, how many time you spend for yourself? So when I ask yourself, this is not you spend, I mean, the time you spend watching your, looking at your mobile phone, checking your personal emails or something, but the time you spend purely on something that you love, basically something you love to do. So again, with the interest of time, I'll give the answer myself, but I would like if you all can be, interactive. However, sometimes we actually don't spend time for ourselves. Like, some people have different hobbies, reading a book, or maybe, it can be maybe playing games and everything, but I actually don't recommend doing something like that for you. It means something doing for yourself. Maybe so if you read, or if you, um, meditate or whatever, I don't know, but something you would love to do, maybe crafting something. But most of the people actually don't spend very little time concentrating for themselves. And also the next part is how many time you spend with your loved ones, how many hours you, maybe most of you are unmarried, bachelors, maybe, and uh, some are maybe married. So in our lives, with this, busy lifestyle and everything, or even in your future, this is something we need to avoid. That's why I'm actually trying to get to this point. Even if you have, quality time now, sleeping, enjoying yourself, enjoying meals and everything, you might not have that time sitting with your family members and having lunch or dinner together. You might have it now, but when you move into corporate world, it might not be the case, and that's what we need to avoid. I'll come to the reasons, but maybe this will be, like 30 minutes or something like that. But in my view, I think, I would say a person spends at least a fair quality life if they utilize their time like this. Maybe in our companies, most of the companies, the expectation is you have to work about 8 hours. That's a given. Um, if it is 8 hours, I would recommend you to do only 8 hours. I'm not asking you to, like, say, if there's a, messy situation and everything, and you need to resolve that, help the company to do that. That's totally fine, but don't make it a habit working more than 8 hours. Um, uh, but if you are doing something on your own, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you trying to build up something, you will definitely spend some more time, but have a plan. You cannot do it every day, or rather all the like entire your life, or the quality period of your life. So don't make it a habit. We'll come into details next. But so in medical researchers, the sleep time, they say you should spend at least 7 to 9 hours. If it is a elder, about, like, I think 65 years or above, they should it's fine to spend only, like, 6 hours or 7 hours of sleep. But if you are a young person who's maybe 24 to to somewhere 20 to about up till 60, you actually at least should sleep about 7 to 9 hours. And some of you might be doing it a lot as well. That's also not healthy. So try to have this. And next one, for yourself, I would recommend do something that is that you enjoy, at least maybe an hour or two, because it gives you energy not to mess up in the long term. Because you don't spend time for yourself, where you don't know where you are, your mental condition or physical condition, and you don't do anything about it. There's If that is the case, there's a chance that you would drain out and have a problem there. So I would recommend you to at least spend about like 1 to 2 hours. And the last one, we actually don't speak with our people at home, or maybe parents, if you're having kids, or maybe if you're married wife or your fiance or whoever, you don't spend enough time with them. But we really need to do this. Again, we'll come back to this. Okay. Right. And just for me to know, can I know how long? I think as I got to know, it's 1 hour allocated for this session. Is it? Am I correct? Okay,
Yes.
okay, thanks. Right. So let me move on to particularly on sleep. So I was talking about sleep. Sleep a little bit. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into detail and everything. But what you need to know is not having enough sleep directly affects your productivity in the long term also, because you have, a lot of negative health impacts if you don't have sleep. So if you are talking about productivity, in order to be productive in the long run, you need to have enough sleep. That's why at the beginning, when I wanted to talk about time management, I wanted you all to focus on sleep as well. You might say, but this guy, what the heck is this guy saying? He's asking to sleep and all, but it's not the case. You need to have good sleep in order to be productive. So I'll be sharing this slide set with maybe the link in this chat. You can refer it later as well. But all these things, impaired cognition, or increases in depression, stroke risks, and I saw, weight gain or maybe weight loss, and increased risk of cancer. All those things can happen if you don't spend enough time sleeping. So no, don't make it too much, but have an idea on that. Okay, so now we'll be moving away from sleeping, and we are going to focus on the core part of my session. So what is time management? In textbooks, it says time management refers to the way that you organize and plan how long you spend on specific activities, right? I think it's self-explanatory. So spending time, organizing how much you spend on particular activity, and how to do it, call it in a effective manner, is time management. I'm not going to go into details, because all of these are information are on the internet and you can find more about it. I'll be trying to spend more time on the other things, tips and things that I'm going to talk about. So I'll very quickly go through this. If you do time management right, you will have these positive benefits. That is greater productivity and efficiency, better work-life balance, a better professional reputation, because without having a good time management, you won't be able to, please your bosses, or maybe if you are doing something on your own, you won't be able to grow it because you are not utilizing your time correctly. And of course, less stress, because if you are too packed with too much of work, then of course you get stressed and then you will fail. That's the truth. So if you do it right, you will have less stress and increase opportunities for advancement, because you have, if you manage time correctly, maybe you can have more time to learn, or showcase yourselves, or maybe, let's say, if I was too busy, I won't have time to come and do this lecture and you won't know me, something like that, just an example. So like that, if you manage your time properly, only you can do other things that you love, or basically be productive. And then you will have great opportunities to achieve important life and career goals. If you are, packed with time and work, and you are messed up with your schedules and everything, you will not be able to, achieve your targets and reach the success. So that's that. And if you do it wrong, of course, you will have missed deadlines, insufficient workflow, poor quality of work, and poor professional reputation, because other people will say that guy cannot, do something when within the time that we have allocated. And if you are again doing something on your own, they will say that that person or that company is not doing work in the signed timeline. So that will happen, and also again higher stress levels. Okay, so these are, textbook things, and like I said, I'll not be focusing on that too much. You can always see these in internet. And then this is the main part of my session. So I would like to separate out, like I said earlier, separate out my session into two. One is day-to-day personal time management, and time management in corporate culture. And like I said, I'll be more focusing on corporate culture, because that is my specialty, or what I know most. And I think you all see a clear line between this. I put it purposely because you would really need to have a clear separation between your work and your personal life. If you mix these two up, definitely you will have either problems in your personal life or in your work life. So make sure, I know you might not, understand what I am saying right now, or you might, but in the future when you are stepping, because as I know, if you are, doing, if you are stepping into any corporate world, like company, software engineering or civil engineering or whatever, or else maybe any job, fashion designing or anything, you need to have that balance. Or even if you are working for government or anything, because we'll come to that, because we'll come back to that, because I have more information on that in my latter parts of the session. Anybody has any questions, or how I do this? Is it good? Is it okay, or am I too fast? You can let me know now, so that I can maybe amend a little bit. Please let me know if that is the case. Okay, I'll take as the silence as no, but please do let me know if you see something, because I actually don't see anything, Zoom chat or anything, because I'm in the presentation mode in my both screens. So I won't see if you send a message or anything. So please speak up and let me know if I'm too speed or like too much like rushing and everything. Okay, so in your day-to-day personal time management, you might think you don't have time, or you might think, I'm too packed, I'm too stressed, I cannot do anything, you are overwhelmed with work, you might think, right? And again, if you don't feel it like that yet, definitely please welcome. I mean, I'm not trying to make you afraid of the corporate world, but if you know what you should do, I mean, you will be successful in anywhere, but you have to be, I mean, if you know, because most of the people get to learn this after they get into the corporate world. But if you know, or if you at least keep some of the things that I mentioned here, I think you will definitely benefit from them. So if you at any point, if you think, okay, my office has like too much of work, I don't want to do it, and or else even now you might say, okay, I don't have time to study. I don't have because I don't have time to study, because I always go out with my friends. I have to do is if I don't go out with my friends, they will think, okay, what a loser this guy is. He's studying and studying, or whatever. But there's a simple theory. Actually, this was in a book, and this is called hell yeah or no theory. So we'll watch a small video. I want to know whether you will hear audio in this. So I'll play it right now. If you hear it, let me know. Otherwise, I'll have to maybe change some setting in Zoom. So I'm going to play that video. Okay. Did you guys hear the audio? No, right? I would need the answer from someone here. Hi, guys, can you hear the audio?
No, sir, we can't.
Okay, I have change the setting. Let me now. I think you should. I'll have to check again, because I'm just to confirm. Otherwise, there's okay. Let me play this again. I have to change my.
I recently read.
Okay, can you hear now?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, great. So I'll be playing this video and we'll watch this.
I recently read Hell Yeah or No by Derek Sivers. Imagine saying yes to every opportunity that comes your way. Hey, you want to attend this conference? Sure. Want to take on this internal project? Absolutely. Want to start a podcast? Let's do it. Hey, I'm volunteering this Saturday. You want to join me? Yeah. All these yeses lead to meeting lots of new people, doing lots of new things, and finding out what type of work you like doing. But eventually you'll reach a point when you feel overcommitted and scattered. Soon, all the opportunities you said yes to will feel like obligations, and you wake up wondering, why did I say yes to this? If you get to this point, it's time to implement a hell yeah or no policy. As author Derek Sivers says, if you feel anything less than wow, that would be amazing, absolutely hell yeah, then say no. When you adopt a hell yeah or no approach to life, you create space in life to focus on what really matters and spend time doing things that are really worth doing.
Okay, so hell yeah or no theory. I trust you guys understood it. So basically, in your life, you cannot say yes to everything. If you do so, you will definitely fail because you say yes to, your friends maybe to have a tea every Saturday, or maybe go out with your, office buddies every evening, or volunteer all those are good things, but you cannot say yes to everything, even for work. So say your boss coming up and say, please do this, or giving you everything. If you are saying yes to everything, you will fail because you will be overwhelmed with work. So this hell yeah or no theory, because if you think something is okay, if you get to do some work, I know you will not be able to adapt this theory 100% in your job in the future, but in your personal life mostly, because see, still we are talking about the personal life mainly, but this is something you can use for the corporate, like your job and everything as well. But sometimes you will have to do things that you don't like as well in your job. That's a normal thing. But you can definitely discuss with your manager and maybe make some amendments. But here I'm actually trying to say about your personal life, try to use this theory. If that is something that you really say, okay, yes, hell yeah, I need to do that. Oh, that would be amazing. I need to do that. So if the answer is none of these, hell yeah, wow, amazing. If the answer is not none of them, you should say no. And you should just say, no, I'll pass this. I cannot do this. I don't have enough time, or something, some reason, or some polite reason. So try to use this. Again, I'll be sharing these slides, and then maybe you can revisit them and understand more.
Okay. I recently read.
Right. So next, I'll very quickly go through some tips and tricks on how to do personal time management. But again, this is not all. This is a very subset of, a small chunk of what I wanted to, or rather, you will find. You can read the books. There are like lots of books about time management, but these are few things that I would like to highlight. So main thing is, in your personal time, do things you love. So basically, for me, sometimes it's cooking, or sometimes maybe for someone it can be doing some craft, or some taking your bicycle or car or whatever and go somewhere, go in a trip. These days we cannot really go, unfortunately. That's actually a problem of this pandemic. But when you have time, spend time to do things you love. That is not a waste of time, because it will directly impact your mental health as well as physical health, because if you are mentally happy, you will be physically healthy as well. The next thing is, always make your loved ones your priority. So I would like to share a small story here. This is something I heard in a TV program where Bhatia, of Bharatiya Santosh BNS attended. So he said, one day he was, he's, you know, I think you all know his father was a army officer or a military officer. And he said one day he received a call from his father while he was doing a melody. And he was at this point where uh, it was, you know, it was that very important moment. Some tune came to his mind, and he was like completely focusing on that. And he received a call from his father, but he didn't answer it, saying, okay, I'll call my father in about like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, so maybe later. And he didn't answer it. And he completed the tune. And then soon after, he got a call saying his father has died, or basically his father has died in a military operation. He has yeah. So that was the very last chance he got to talk to his father, but he deprioritized it. He continued to focus on work, and he missed the last chance to talk with his father. So that's what can cost you. So always make your loved ones priority. You might be, you know, very busy in your life. You might be the CEO, you might be a company owner, or you might be a software engineer, or whoever, at which level you might have work every day. The work coming from to your life will not end, but make sure at every time you make your loved ones your priority. Don't deprioritize them. And similarly, spend time with your loved ones. If you have seen that very nice TV commercial from a finance company, the kid comes to the dad and say, "තාත්ති ලොකු වැඩක්ද මේ කියලා කිව්වහම he says, ඔව්. Then she says, ඒ ගෙදරටත් මේ වගේ කාමරයක් නම් හදන්න එපා, because she is really, you know, frustrated with his job. His loved one, the kid, is really frustrated about that work. And they will eventually, I mean, if you don't care about them, they will eventually won't care about you as well, right? This happened not only for kids, but everyone. If you don't make your loved ones your priority, and if you don't spend your time with them, ultimately they won't love you back. And also, especially, I mean, this is not the case with your parents. You might not be spending your time enough with them, but at a certain time, they might not be there. They might be here today. They might not be here tomorrow. Then you won't have enough time. You might say, okay, I am very busy. I am not going home this weekend because I am very busy. I will go next month. We don't know whether they will be there next month with special. I mean, these are very rude times. So we don't know whether they will be there or not. So make sure, because after that you will regret it a lot if you don't spend time with your loved ones. So make sure that you spend enough time, quality time with your loved ones, and never deprioritize them. And one important thing is have some blackout period. So what this means is no mobile, no laptops, no games, no internet, or no phone calls, anything. Just maybe, I don't know, turn off the phone, or maybe put it in silent mode, or even airplane mode, or whatever. Just don't use them, and focus on, you know, maybe with your loved ones, or maybe for yourself, or maybe just staring at the sky doing nothing, something like that. Just have some blackout periods, because these will help you to have very important thoughts about your life, or maybe your decisions, or whatever. Just spend some complete disconnected time. Yeah. And even when you are going for you know, a trip or something, just disconnect everything. Because I mean, sometimes some people, even ourselves, we have to do that, especially as project managers. We have a, you know, a different lifestyle. We cannot really disconnect, but I would I mean, recommend you all to have some disconnected time so that you can enjoy your life, and also do good to society, because especially in these critical times, we have to take care about other people. It's a must, because when you are in trouble, you will have that in return, but not expecting that return. Do good to society, because in some way that will, benefit. Maybe the good thoughts that come to your mind, or some way you will benefit. So ensure that. Okay, so now let's, with the interest of time, we'll move to the corporate culture, on how to do management in corporate culture. So this is again a theory and a small video. So there's something called 4Ds of time management. So 4Ds of time management are do, defer or delay, delegate, delete or drop. Basically do, defer, delegate, delete. And defer can be delay as well. Delete can be drop as well. So first we'll watch a video, and then again I have another slide explaining the same thing, but focus on the video and try to understand what they see. And if you don't hear sound, please let me know. I think you will hear that, but disrupt me and inform me if you don't hear sound.
Hey, do you ever find yourself overwhelmed, distracted? There's all these different things coming in all the time. You've tried all these different time management tools, techniques, tips, apps, all this stuff, but you just can't seem to figure it out? Well, today I'm going to show you 4 Ds of time management to help you cut through the noise and get more stuff done. Let's go take a look. So the 4 Ds of time management are delete, delegate, defer, and do. So the first one, delete, is really about getting things off your list, like completely taking them away so you don't have to have them on anymore. They could be subscriptions to things that you've got. They could be projects, tasks, calendar entries, all of these things that you've created in your life, all these commitments that you could completely just reduce. What are the things that you've got in your life? Emails, labels, folders, all these different things that you've got. Are there any that you're not using anymore? Can you go through those and just be a bit ruthless and just delete them? The second one is delegate. So this is handing over the project or the task to someone else. Someone skilled who can get this work done for you. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, and that's where a lot of people get stuck. Even if someone can get a task or a project 80% of the way there, that can really free you up, because the project and the task is still moving on, and then you can just come in and wrap up the last 20%. Okay, the third D is defer. So the tasks that you have, the projects that you have may not be for right now. So can you put them into your calendar? Can you set these into a point in the future where they'll come up at the time that they need to be done? So they don't need to be in your daily to-do list. They don't need to be this open loop that you keep checking out and you keep looking at and keeps distracting you. You can set it to a particular date, set it to a reminder, block off that time, and then get it out of your inbox and just have it in a space that you'll be reminded when it needs to be done. Some email boxes also have the feature where you can actually have an email return back to you when it needs to be actioned. So instead of just leaving it in your inbox, you can actually set it with a system like Boomerang or the inbox that I use called Spark, where you can actually have it so the email gets out of your inbox and comes in like a new email at the exact time that you need to action it. So the fourth D is to really just do it. Just get it done. At the end of the day, productivity is about producing, right? So you need to be producing something and you need to be doing work to actually get something produced. A lot of busy work can be around these productivity methods and organizing your work and using this list and productivity tool and Asana and teamwork and planning everything before you get to work. But really at the end of the day, just need to sit down, focus on one thing, set yourself a Pomodoro time and get to it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love.
Okay, so I think you enjoyed the video. So this is again another view of the same thing, and I again must say most of these things might not make sense to you if you are not in corporate sector yet, but I would ask you to, maybe save this presentation and the entire session if possible. And you will definitely find it useful when you are in corporate culture. So just think about the future and maybe try to grab a few things, even if you sometimes might not understand. And also again, about that previous video, you don't have to have sophisticated tools mentioned in or rather showed in that video. You just maybe can use an Excel or something to write down your task, and everything. We'll come back to that to discuss. But you don't have to have sophisticated tools. You can just do it. So I'll very quickly go through this again. When you have the task list, try to get small tasks done as much as possible, so that you will have more time remaining for the larger work. So try to finish off whatever you can do, and these are called MITs, most important things. You can do all those most important things first, and very importantly, learn to defer things. So you have, let's say, 10 tasks, sorry, 100 tasks, or maybe even 10 tasks, and you have, say, 5 hours to do that. You definitely know you cannot do that in 5 hours. So that's totally okay, because just prioritize what you need to do. Maybe the first important thing, or maybe the first two important things. Just do them and defer other things, because you might have different deadlines. So try to prioritize what you need to do early based on their deadlines or commitments, and finish them off. And don't take maybe the last the thing that has the last deadline. Don't try to do it. Just try to do the thing that you need to immediately do. And also learn to delegate. So if you want to go up the career ladder, don't micromanage. Oh, sorry, my bad. Don't try to do everything by yourself. Try to delegate. If you are doing a group work, don't do everything. Let's say other people are not doing their work, because of that I have to do this, otherwise our assignment will not get submitted or whatever. Don't do that. Just try to get them however to do that, using power, force or whatever. Try to do that, but delegate. Even in your work culture, delegate as much as possible. Like in that video said, even though they don't do the job perfectly, they might do 70%, 80% of the work, and you can just do the rest of 20%. If you are the person who really knows about that. And again, you will train more people. So training more people is very, very helpful in most cases. It goes wrong only in very very few cases, if you have niche knowledge or something. But in most cases, it goes the other way. It helps you when you delegate it and train some more people. And also delete or drop. So when okay, especially another point that I will be talking about, if there are any unnecessary emails, don't read them. Oh, if okay, this is not required, I don't have to keep my. Likewise, if there are any unproductive meetings, just leave it. Don't go. Maybe come out in the middle. Likewise. So these are some things. Please go through them again if you need and understand. Okay, so I'll now go to some particular items that I have personally benefited a lot. So try to work in a schedule. So if possible, the previous day, when you before you go to sleep, not in your bed, but before you go to sleep, look at your calendar. So you might not particularly have a calendar right now, but when you go to the work, you'll use Microsoft Outlook or Google Calendar or some other tool, and you will definitely have lots and lots of meetings sent by various people in your company. Your schedule will get packed. There'll be meetings specific to you, and maybe general meetings and everything. So you will definitely have to have a practices of maintaining a schedule. So try to work in a schedule. The previous day, look at the schedule and imagine your day. I should start my day at 9 a.m. I should have lunch at 12, and in that middle I have 2 meetings, and I have this time to work, and then I'll do this thing. Spend about like 10-15 minutes imagining that, and think about when you should finish the work. Especially when you are at home, you won't know when you should finish. You will just continue to do it, but have a schedule. And after that, decide whether I'm going to have a dinner with my loved ones tomorrow at 6 or 7, then like that. So try to work in a schedule. Try to develop a schedule for yourself. Even if when you are studying like right now, try to develop a schedule. I know this is being taught by even our grade 5-6 teachers to have a schedule and everything, and this is one of the like least practiced things. I think you can have it in a not in a very critical way for now, but in the work environment you will definitely have to be mindful about this. And then when you have too much of a, don't panic. Just prioritize the most important things or MITs, and read emails. This is important. Read emails only at a fixed interval. So now you might be getting 1 email or 2 emails a day if you are still are not connected with any initiative or anything, just if that, or maybe you might not receive one. But in corporate culture, as project managers, sometimes we receive about 200 emails a day. Sometimes maybe at least we receive about 30 emails a day. Even software engineers and other people, they will receive at least about 10-15 emails. If you try to focus on that email every time you receive them, you will lose a lot of time. So try to open your email box only in a fixed interval, maybe in the morning and just before the lunch break, likewise, because generally in corporate culture, the deadline for emails are 24 hours usually, but it differs based on the context, but usually it's 24 hours. So try to do that. Don't try to read every time the email comes in. And the other point that I talked earlier as well, if you believe that you are in an unproductive meeting, or if you feel that you are not required for that meeting, just excuse and leave. So in Wiley, this is something we practice very, very critically. So we encourage all the team members, even if the CEO or CTO invites them to the meeting, if you believe that it's not for you, or if it's not productive for you or required for you, just excuse and leave. Politely excuse and leave. Make that habit, because it will save you a lot of time. And again, book slots in your calendar. This is again very important, because you actually forgot that you have a, you forgot that you need to take lunch. You need to take a tea break. So especially working from home, you don't understand when to take the tea, when to take the lunch. But in office, at least you usually go to your tea area and have a chat with colleagues. As a team, you all go. But especially in this working from home situation, you really don't, know when to take the break, when to, look out at the, window, the distance, just to you need to change your focus of eyes in a periodical way. Otherwise, you will be short-sighted. Likewise, there are many things you should know this. Maybe you can use, there are online tools, a lot of free tools to help you do this or remind this. And especially when you are maintaining a schedule, make sure that you book your slots for lunch. If it is, if you are used to have your lunch from 12 to 1 p.m., book a slot. Every day, 12 to 1 p.m., you can say lunch break, and other people will not book your time at that period, because you are shown as busy. So do that. And if you really need, tea break, just put 15 minutes every day, whatever. Actually, these are not, all these things are not practical always, but you can really benefit from them. And again, finally, user tracker. This again does not have to be a very sophisticated or purchased tool for you to do this. You can do this in a spreadsheet or plugin or free apps and everything. Even for your education, list them. So I'm actually showing you this. This is my actual task list. This is I do this using a tool called OneNote in Microsoft, and you can just tick off. So every time you do this, you can come back and see, okay, this I have, this I have. So you won't miss your task, and your bosses won't have to, you know, come and blame you, asking what happened to that task I told you a week earlier, because you will have it. And every day spend about, like, you know, maybe a couple of times, have a look at this list, and try to, you know, tick off whatever you do. And even if it is Excel, you can just strike out or highlight. Or if it is a notebook, if you are very used to notebooks, just write everything in a maybe in the backside of the, you know, last few pages. Use that as the tracker and just tick off them. Because this is very important, because if you miss something, your boss will come and ask what happened to that task I gave you 2 weeks back. You won't remember, and you actually missed it. You will remember it only when he or she comes back and asks. So to avoid that, something like this, and every day following up, this is actually practically working 100% for me. This is my very own, I mean, this is a very lengthy list. I have just taken excerpt of this. So likewise, but it doesn't have to be formatted or anything. If there are very critical things, you can bold them. If you are, you know, even critical things, you can highlight them with red, something like that. However, the way it will work for you, try to do it. Okay, so fine. We are actually reaching out to our mostly end of the presentation. So one important thing is work smarter, not harder. Basically, let's say if you are in this picture, if you are asked to move a mass from one place to another, you can move it like this person, or you can move. I mean, you can move it as a cube. I'm just taking the example. You can move it as it is, or you can spend some time making it to a sphere, and just roll it. So you will be behind at this point, but this guy, when tries to, you know, push this towards, you will have this done, and you will just swiftly move this along. So try to be smart, not just working hard won't give you anything actually. Say you start work at 8 and you finish work at 9 p.m. But at the end of your, you know, annual review or whatever, your boss might say, hey man, you really suck. The reason is because you haven't done it the correct way or the effective way, or you have spent this much of time, but you have done only this much. Likewise, but if you do it smarter, and it will help you to save your time as well as company's time, and will, you know, take you out from the rest of the audience, and make you highlight whenever you work smart. So try to do that. And finally, the main message that I want to give you is, you are not born just to work and die, right? Say you think, okay, we measure people with the amount of money they have in account, and they just work and work and work, and they maybe die with a heart attack at about 40, something like that. I mean, nothing wrong, because we don't know. Even we have a very healthy lifestyle, we might still die with a heart attack. That's very normal, no offense. But you have to remember, you are not born just to work and die. Start work at 24 and then die, complete work at 60, retire, and then maybe die 61. That's not what you should do. So make sure that you spend enough time doing all these things, but the small text is also important. You cannot say, okay, I'm not born to just work and die, so I'm not working. You cannot say that. You have to work as well, because you need money if you want to buy stuff for your family or yourself. So always keep a balance. So both of these are important. You are not born just to work and die, but still you should work. So always try to keep a balance, and make sure that you always have your personal time as well as your office time balanced, and enjoy everything. Enjoy the work life. Don't think it as a burden. Enjoy both, and just try to keep a balance. So that's about my presentation. Any questions? I think we have about 8 minutes for questions. I'm more than happy to answer if you have any questions now, or even I'll share my email and other LinkedIn and stuff stuff if you want to be in touch. But for now, any questions or anything that you would like to clarify about corporate world or your future or whatever?
So I just want to ask about the time management thing. The thing is that even though I write it down everything and put it and everything in a neat sheet, and if I get ready so that I want to do that tomorrow, if I say that even, but after sometimes after doing it, sometimes we feel like it's put it and everything in a neat sheet, and if I get ready so that I want to do that tomorrow, if I say that even, but after sometimes after doing it, sometimes we feel like it's being left out, and if we miss it, like it's becoming difficult to get on the track back. Yeah, like we might plan accordingly, but the plan wouldn't go accordingly. So how can we overcome that?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. So we always have that, right? I mean, we plan to do things, but we could. So that's where your priority comes in, right? Prioritizing work. So let's say, I mean, there can be instances where you have 5 tasks and all of them are priority 1, and you have the same deadline. There can be situations, but then you have to maybe, one thing is in corporate culture, if I be particular about corporate culture, you can always negotiate. Say, even with your, academics, you can say, sir, I have 5 assignments. These are the assignments. I have to submit all of these at this date. Be informative and communicate it. Always communicate, because don't try to do everything in a timeline which you cannot, because you cannot, right? Because if you have 10 hours, what you can do is that. But if you not you, but if you say you have 10 hours, you sleep 5 hours and try to do that of course not productivity. So that's a different discussion, maybe how to improve on that. But my message would be prioritize. That is the first option. If you still cannot, when prioritizing, you can see, okay, this assignment, at least maybe something like this. So I will have the most mark in this assignment, but this, okay, this maybe 20% of marks, but other one 50%. Then you can prioritize it. Or even in office, you can see, okay, this impacts 1,000 users. This impacts 1 million users in our application. So try to, because we always do prioritization, especially in software project management. We always do prioritization. You will have deadlines, but you cannot do everything. So first option is prioritize. And then if you cannot come out of that after prioritizing, try to negotiate, maybe with the client or maybe with the lecturers or whoever. Say, or maybe with your boss, say, I have these things, so I cannot get this done. Because of that, I will have to do it late, but I will give another commitment. Say, after 2 days, I'll do that, but I have this. Like that, you can prioritize and you can negotiate. Did I answer your question, or anything more you want?
Yeah. So always there is an interest factor also as well, right? Like to keep us motivated, I guess.
Exactly. So whatever. So I mean, even when you are prioritizing, say, for the academic items, I wouldn't say that will be the case. But let's say, I mean, because if you are asked to submit an assignment and you have 80 marks from that, but you are interested in 20 marks thing, it won't really make sense to do the 20% thing because you love it, right? Because in that sense, because life is not very, fair. So in such cases, you won't have to do anything. I mean, can't do anything. But in say you are a businessman or you are working at office, then you can maybe think about the interest part. So maybe if you are very interested, you can first do that, because doing that might help you to, take you up to speed, and then it might help you to do other things as well. So don't try to do the, less interest in one first, and okay, I'll get over with this board one first, and then maybe do the other things. Don't do that. Try to do, if you have a, that leverage, try to prioritize the interest, that one. And then, of course, the subsequent ones.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
I mean, if you all are okay, and if you all have any more questions, I am happy to answer. But we have a couple of more minutes, and I can even use more.
Withana, we have a couple of questions here in the chat that we have received them. So there's one. I can't manage my time properly since I'm a bit of a perfectionist when performing tasks. Can you give me a solution to this?
Okay. All right. So to be honest, to be honest, let me think about it. So being a perfectionist is not bad, right? However, my advice is, say you have a presentation and you have enriched all the information required, and okay, I'll get these marks with that. But since you are a perfectionist, you will try to maybe align every line. I mean, it's not bad. It's good if you have time. That's totally okay, and that's really good. But if you have limited time, think about your marks and everything, right? If you say in your most of the academics, even I have seen, sometimes people spend a lot of time trying to adjust everything and do that. I'm actually now talking only about that creativity part, or making it beautiful, but I'll come to the other end as well. But don't spend too much time if you really don't have to, because say you get again 80 marks for your final exam. If you present all this information, just the information in a very simple manner, just bullet points or whatever, just information, you still maybe get 75, right? If you spend or if you ruin something else and use another couple of hours just to take that 5 marks, it's not justifiable, because maybe you lose your time to study for your exam a lot, and lose another 40-30 marks just because was trying to do that. Again, prioritized, but definitely being perfectionist. So in terms of information, let's say, not about the creativity, if you're trying to be perfect in the information you provide, again, try to weigh the benefit. So if you say, if you be perfect, only if you be perfect, you will get 100 marks. If you are not perfect, but you have listed everything, you will get 80 marks. And if you same time, you will lose maybe so that 10% mark, try to see whether it's required. And of course, please Google and read more about being perfectionist and not being a perfectionist, the balances and everything, because it is again a vast subject that we will have to read about. But I'll say try to prioritize, and read about whether you really need to be a perfectionist in everything, because in some things it's very nice or interesting to be a perfectionist, but it's not required everywhere. So try to have that balance. Was there any other question?
Yes, sir, there's a question in the chat as well, and I'll read out another one. So, what kind of qualities that undergraduates should practice during their college period so that they won't struggle in managing time in corporate world?
Yeah. Okay, that's all questions are very good, and I find this interesting as well. Yeah. So I think the some points, maybe you might not really, like I said, see the dependency or the relationship with what I said when you really work in the company. But I would say that the small things, if you can try to adapt them to your lifestyle, even from now, then of course that is one of the set of key skills that I was talking about. So try to adhere them. That is one part. And also there are lot of soft skills. So particularly on time management, if you want to manage, let's say, corporate world time, I told about many points, but you can read more about that. So I actually, when I wanted to do this presentation, I had learned many things in university or maybe my other certifications and stuff, but I had to refresh my knowledge on how to do this presentation. So what I did was I just Google, and those videos and everything I took from them, and then I mixed them with my life experience and everything. So I wouldn't say follow this course or follow this certification or whatever, because I actually don't know as such, particularly on time management, but try to do some research. But do some research on the internet, because you have nowadays you don't have to go to the library and find books and stuff. Just Google, and there are very interesting ways of presentations, videos, and not only text. If you are someone does not try to read, you can just watch YouTube and very very creative videos, or some other tools, and try to learn. But for now, if you can try focus on some of the things that I mentioned, that will be very helpful. To be honest, I don't recall anything formal qualification or formal certification in terms of time management, but it's a soft skill that you will learn slowly. And also, don't be upset if you cannot manage time. That's totally fine, because because even personally myself, I was not very good at time management. I used to sleep a lot, and I cannot really wake up in the morning and study. Even most of the guys say I wake up at 3 and study. I have never done that. I have never woken up. I have woken up, but again I have slept on my desk. So it's totally fine. You might see, okay, I am not very good at time management. That's fine. You will slowly learn. Only thing is, you should have the need to develop yourself. Yeah, that's my answer on that. Maybe I can open the chat as well, if you because let me maybe post this. Yep. Okay. So let me see. There are. Let me see.
So there's only one question in the chat in the end.
Okay. Because I'm actually not, because I'm using Teams and I'm not very familiar with Teams.
Okay, I'll read it out then.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you give me some tips to avoid procrastination?
Okay. So delay in work. Yeah. So there are repercussions of procrastination, right? If you delay work, you will have various repercussions. If you are in your academic life, if you delay things frequently, of course you will struggle in your exams or in your office. So always keep that will be the first advice. Keep that in mind. But I know, it wasn't the answer you were expecting. Excuse me, you were expecting. So try to actually like I said, prioritizing is a very important thing, right? So let's say you have a lot of things and you don't feel like doing it. Try to, so in that sense, in that case, if you are really struggling with that, try to prioritize something that you like out of them. In that sense, you won't have to follow my previous theory saying do the most important thing first, because you are not doing anything at the moment, right? So at least try to do what is interesting or what is easier, and try to complete one thing, because first thing is always think about the repercussions. If you fail, you won't find, I mean, you won't reach your whatever the first class or whatever. If you have any targets, if you don't have any targets, that's also fine. But you will not basically will be able to, but it doesn't mean if you fail at something you won't fail, because there are people who have failed a lot of times. We have learned lessons on that, but so that's not actually the message. But try to prioritize work, and if you are not interested about it, try to do what you love out of them, or else try to let's say you are sleepy, you say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, I will sleep today, and I'll do it tomorrow. And I would say if you feel like that, sleep today, but try to ask someone, maybe your parent, to wake you up, and have some kind of force to do that. Even, I don't know, your fiance or someone who can influence you, ask them to have that, because if you are really struggling with that, have someone to do that for you. Because if you are unable to, because if you are able to make up your mind and maybe read some articles online and how to avoid procrastination, then do it. If you are unable to do it, have someone help you, and that'll help you. I'm sorry, I'm actually not 100%. I'm not sure whether I gave you, or I'm sorry, I'm sharing another. Yeah, I'm not be the most ideal person to give you that answer, because but I think I did a fair job. So that's it. Yeah. Okay. I think those are the only questions, given your time as well. I'm happy to answer more questions, but you can reach out to me in thank you. Reach out to me in this methods. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer, especially on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me, and even my personal email I have mentioned here. So do keep in touch, and if you have anything to clarify, I would definitely be happy to help. Any more questions or anything that you would like to ask, or maybe we can, if not, we can wrap up.
Mr. Withana, thank you for your insightful session on time management. And that's it for today. Thank you everyone. Good night and stay safe.